Hey guys, this is Jeff with the YouTube channel The Wolf of Wisco. In this episode number 3, we're doing engine prep. This is part of a series of putting a Subaru engine into an old Volkswagen bus. As you can see, the engine is pretty corroded. It came out of a 99 Subaru Legacy Outback station wagon that my daughter was driving. And after it came out of service, I decided, hey, time to put this engine into the Volkswagen bus. It's pretty corroded, rusty on the steel parts. And we did some cleanup using chemicals, and I'll show you the process, how we cleaned it up and did a kind of a quick spray can paint job to make this engine look nearly like new. We did a little blue accents on some of the parts to make it match, kind of color match on the bus.
Get that intake manifold off because I want to get that sandblasted and painted. Everybody's got a sandblaster. We'll get into it. Keep it all the wiring, the fuel system, everything. I'll take some pictures, make sure I can get it all back the way it was. So let's do this. Okay. Got it. All right, that's the intake manifold. We're going to clean that up, pull the harness off of it, and give it a paint job. Okay, this part here, this water transfer from one cylinder to the other, looks like that would be a good candidate to paint.
Hey guys, this is Jeff. Today I'm going to do a little cleanup on the Subaru 2.2 liter block, and we're going to get that pressure washed, and I've got some engine bright aluminum brightener type product I'll be spraying on here. We're going to try that out along with some carb cleaner, some other cleaning agents, and we're going to kind of get this engine all prepped and get ready to go back in the bus. Here's a closer view of what it looks like. There's must have been some rodents. There's some acorns and leaves and things there, and it must have had a leak on the valve cover here. This did have a new water pump put on a few thousand miles ago. I know that was good, and the timing belt's good. This is a 2.2 EJ 2.2 right here. See the 22? Just to start off, we're going to vacuum off all the loose debris and then bring it outside. It's probably, I don't know, 10 degrees out today. We'll do a quick pressure wash and then bring it in for the chemical clean. All right, for the initial cleanse, we're gonna try this Gunk engine degreaser. It's a gel, I guess. We're just gonna hose it down here. We got a drip pan. I got this nice drip pan. Slide under just in case it leaks out at all. I've used this before, it works pretty good. I'm just gonna hose the whole thing down here. Let it soak about 15 minutes and then bring it outside with the pressure washer. Yep, it's soaking in pretty good. Let's see how this stuff works. Yeah, I decided to pop the head on quick while we're cleaning here. Might as well spray it on the heads too. Well, she's a chilly 10 degrees out here today, so we're gonna see what we It looks pretty good. It got off the mouse nests, the acorns, the grease, most of the grease. There's a lot of corrosion. Looks like the Exxon Valdez over here. little spillage, but you know, after a couple snow plows, that'll be gone. So, all right, bringing it back inside. Okay, we're back inside. This is after the wash outside, high pressure wash, a little bit of that gunk engine degreaser, and now I'm gonna try a couple things here. I've got this aluminum brightener. I guess this is pretty good stuff. So full strength, that's crazy. It should get it pretty clean. We got some brushes here too to use, and we'll get after it. My dog Reese sees something out there. What do you see, Reese? Reese, what is it? All right, I got some of this engine aluminum brightener. Okay, I've got that stuff. I know you're supposed to dilute it, but this is really corroded, so I want full strength here. And I'm just gonna paint it on this half of the case and see what it looks like. Well, it doesn't look like the Alumabrite's really eating it up very much here. Gonna need some mechanical assistance. Thankfully, I had purchased a Harbor Freight brass wire brush set. We'll give that a shot. Probably one of these smaller ones we can get down in the crevices. So let's give that a shot. I'm gonna try this brass bristle brush on it. What seemed to do the best job on removing that black corrosion on the aluminum block was the wire wheel on the drill. What are you guys using out there to remove corrosion on aluminum? And maybe put that down in the comments. Thanks. I will say that aluminum brightener did foam up and do some etching after I got the surfaces pretty clean, so that worked out.
1 hour later.
I did a brass bristle brush scrub on
No! Well, say it, don't spray it, brother. Dang.
Engine block. It got pretty good down here. I mean, there's a lot of oxidation and corrosion. I'm gonna pull the heads off and put those in an ultrasonic cleaner. So I really want to focus on the engine block right in the center here, using Alumabrite brightener, and it's an acid-based cleaner, and some Purple Power, and I use that as kind of the rinse agent, and just let it drip dry, and it really cleaned it up. I think it's probably good enough. This is basically an engine freshening before I put the engine back into the Volkswagen. I'm gonna hit seals, gaskets, head gaskets, valve cover, guides, seals, basically everything that's easy to do now. Rear main seal will get done, and make sure it's reliable and leak free before it goes into the bus over here. So I can rotate the engine. Let's get the oil out. There she comes. All right, that's the cam seal. We got new ones here. Put that new seal in there, be good to go. All right, we're gonna work on the cam seal on this side. Here's a possible method. We're gonna try putting a little hole in here. Just in the seal. As I turn the screw in, it pulls that seal right out like almost like a little puller. There we go. There. And that springs on the back of the seal, so that's junk. The oil pump. I know a lot of guys like to pull off. We'll pull that off. Get the old claw hammer, of course. That's the mechanic's friend here. Especially if you're half carpenter. Okay. Keep on wiggling that.
Of course, it's going to be stubborn all the way. Make sure you don't break any of these teeth off. It's used by this strength sensor. Here. Okay, that was a keyway. Went right in the oil pan, which is just the way it goes. I get a magnet for that. And that seal here. So I'm going to pull off. This is the oil pump for the engine. I'm going to pull that off. How many Harbor Freight buddies do we got out there? Got the Harbor Freight purple number 10. Gotta love that. Snap on.
Seals replaced. That's a new one. Okay. Let it dip, guy. Wipe her a little bit.
And I'm gonna put a new seal in this. Well, that was easy. Okay. Didn't scuff anything. Pretty clean in there as well. Looks all great. What do we got here? A socket. We're gonna go one size bigger. I want to make sure that it's easier than I thought. Got a flat side of the socket here. We can just get her flush the outside. Yep, it feels great. That was an easy install. So, all right, now for the back side. Clean this up. So we're gonna put the fasteners back in the oil pump here. So that's good. Got a new seal, new silicone all the way around. High temp ultra black silicone.
I'll get the torque wrench out on these just for fun. Off camera. We'll just torque those right at the top.
All right, so we're gonna pull the valve stem seals out of here and put new valve stem seals because we've got her taken apart this far. Okay, we'll get the rocker assembly off. I mean, it's got, like I said many times, it's got a lot of miles on it. No use putting it back in without fixing the seals. Here's another shot pulling this valve out. Hold underneath, gotta hold that valve. Okay, lock this quill. Pull the keepers out. Slow release. Of course, you pull out the spring and then the valve will pop out, and then I'll be able to replace those seals in there. Worked pretty darn good using the mill. Yeah, the valve keeps dropping in, so I got the plastic under the screwdriver. I can kind of wedge up underneath here. Get that valve. There she goes. Release the keepers. Gotta move over a little bit. Get a better grip on that valve. go. Yeah, one keeper, one drop down. Here's that side. Here's the other keeper. Okay, now all those valves can be popped out. I'm keeping track of these, which ones go in which holes, sending them over on the table. They look good. Of course, the exhaust is a little dirty, but looks like they're sealing. All right, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pull out the valve stem seals. So the valve guides are here for each valve. And there's, you know, there's 4 valves per cylinder here. So I'm gonna pull these out with a plier. They're coming out easy now. You just gotta do a little twist, pull, and pop right out. All right, we're gonna do a little head assembly here of the valves, but first we gotta put in the valve guide seals. So on top of the valve guide, I gotta pop a seal on. What I found here is I got a 10mm Harbor freight socket, and that little seal just pops right on there, and then I can press that on or hammer that on using, you know, pressing against the metal part of the seal versus pounding on it on the rubber. So we'll just start these. Probably a metal hammer works a little better. Doesn't take much. Holds right on there. Right on there, perfect. Look right in there. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and put, got 8 of them on this head, 8 on the second head here. Okay, starting to put the valves back into the cylinder head. Got the cylinder head kind of cleaned up here. Got the valves laid out. I'm just wiping off. The valves are pretty clean. I'm just wiping off the valves. I got new valve, the new valve guide seals are in here. They hit that new seal, and I just twist a little bit and they pop right in. And so I'm gonna clean these up. I'll just wipe the oil off them. Put a little dab of motor oil on there. We'll assemble these. Okay, we're gonna do this assembly here. I got a little bit of grease, just regular axle grease. Put the spring on there, and then the keepers are gonna go on next. I got grease holding those keepers on. There we go. And we'll do the rest of them. No need to watch. Right, red here. Cleans that up real good around the bores. See that? I don't use steel scrapers. I had done that in the past. This is aluminum. Actually, on my brother's GTO, I was doing a Pontiac 400 rebuild, and I scratched the cylinder head block surface, and I pulled the engine out after that because I wanted to get the block shaved. I actually had a bad head gasket, that's why I had that apart. And it ended up being good that I scratched the block, because I pulled it out and we cooked it and cooked the block at the machine shop, and every oil passage was plugged on it. Had I not scratched that block, I would have probably put it back together with a new gasket, and we would have had engine problems in the future. But anyway, I learned a lesson there, and now I don't use any metal scrapers on heads, blocks, heads, aluminum or steel. It's usually wire, either steel wire, wire brush on a drill or a side grinder, 4-inch grinder, and then touch it with Scotch-Brite. And as you see here, it didn't take long. I was, so I got a couple minutes into it. And sometimes you get a stubborn spot. You can get a flat razor blade scraper, but I don't like the chance scratching anything. Just got the Amazon. This is a 20-inch long, 13 deep, 12 wide. Got some rusty parts here. I'm gonna put them in the sandblast machine. We'll get the rest of these brackets done and get them painted. We've got the intake manifold off the Subaru. It's pretty oxidized here. We plugged off some of the holes, keep most of the sand out, but I'm gonna have to wash this thing out. So we're gonna put it in the sandblaster cabinet. There we go. All right. I don't know if we can see in there. Can you see in there?
Yeah.
All right. See what we got going here. Looks pretty good. I'll open it up here in a second and see what we got. That's the finish that's going to work for us. Oh yeah, that'll look good. We'll get the whole thing cleaned up.
Yeah.
All right. Got one fuel rail sandblasted here. Looks pretty good. All right, here we go, guys. We're gonna paint the intake manifold. I sandblasted the manifold, got it all cleaned up. I've just plugged, I used earplugs to plug a couple of the injector holes on either side. We're gonna spray it engine Duplicolor blue to match, kind of the match. I'm gonna do the intake manifold and maybe a couple other engine parts, valve covers, and the rest will be black brackets, things like that. So let's get after it. All right, I already shook this pretty good. Put a couple light coats. Oh man, is that cover nice? You know the trick to spray paint, guys. Several light coats. Yeah, that looks freaking fantastic. You can leave it aluminum, non-painted or clear coated, but I've tried to clear coat intake manifolds before. They get grimy. They never look the same. We'll flip it over and get the underside. Second, third time. There. Got a little over here to get. There's our first coat. We'll stop. Let it set up. And hit it a couple more times. All right, guys. We got the intake manifold painted blue. We got some brackets off the engine here. We're gonna paint high temp engine black with this Rust-Oleum. It's oil and grease resistant, gas and oil resistant. Brackets, fuel line, 2 fuel rails. So I'm just gonna spray those. They're a little bit rusty, and some of them were looked like they had an anodized finish, the yellow anodized finish that was just really corroded. I mean, here in Wisconsin, a vehicle with 200,000 miles on it, it's pretty rusty. I'm gonna have to stop. I gotta plug the hole for the I'm gonna plug the holes for those fuel injectors so we don't get any paint inside the fuel rail. I'll just get a few of these touched up here. I'll have to flip these around to get the backside. You know, painting's pretty satisfying to see it come together after you've cleaned everything up. These I just sandblasted at a friend's place. Got this ultrasonic parts cleaner. I just picked this up on Amazon. It showed up today. I just got done running some valve covers. A little bit still in there. I might just hit it with some carb clean. I've run these through 2 30-minute cycles, and I had cleaned a lot of it off with a wire brush on the outside, so there wasn't a lot of gunk on it. This thing's running 79 degrees Celsius, and see, it's still got a little bit of some of it's coming off. Yep, I think I'll hit it with it. I could run another cycle, but otherwise it really gets it nice and clean. Pop these gaskets out, shoot a little carb clean. I mean, it's not critical. I'm gonna paint these, so I'll probably scuff them with a Scotch-Brite. You know, one neat thing, pull these valve covers out, and scuffed a little bit on the one. They got a real grayish finish. I'm running simple green and a little bit of this, maybe a half a quart of aluminum brightener in there, and some dish soap, a little bit of water. But watch how quick this will shine up. I'm still going to paint these, but that really takes the oxidation off and just gets it to an easy to clean and prep finish for paint. I sandblasted the fuel rails. They were pretty rusty, and a few of the brackets that go on the engine, painted those over the high gloss engine paint, just a spray paint in a can. Painted the intake manifold and the valve covers, the water manifold with engine blue. It's gonna go in the blue bus here, so I kind of want it to match. Cleaned up the engine here. We've got the heads. Basically, I pulled the valve springs off and put new seals. Got to torque these to 22 foot-pounds. I'm going to do that next. And then we're going to go through the torque sequence and bolt both heads on. So let's get after it. All right. So these are the rocker shaft bolt. I'm gonna zip these down. I had them in a location where there's no spring tension. I already tightened these. Now we've got to torque those to 22 foot-pounds for the spec. Okay. We're going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to turn that up like that. I'll do one side at a time just to keep track. I am going to squirt just a little bit of motor oil inside the cylinders because they're dry from me wiping it out here. Just a little dab of oil just to coat the rings when we fire it up. Yeah, these are Felpro gaskets. So I was gonna go with the cheap ones. These are off Rock Auto. This is a Felpro Permatorque multi-layered steel gaskets. There's 3 layers here. So as I mentioned before, this block is a 2.2 EJ22, which is a 2.2 liter. And there's also the bigger 2.5. Now I ordered these gaskets
from Rock Auto Fel-Pros, and I also called Fel-Pro on this. The gasket is larger than the bore here. And the factory gasket that came out of this came all the way to the edge of the bore, right to the edge. These are larger, and I thought they were for a 2.5, but I called Fel-Pro and they are saying that this is the correct gasket. So we're gonna install the cylinder heads. All right, so head bolts. You need to be oiled. You got to oil under head on the washers and the threads. I'm not going to do a video on how to torque it all. That's you can see that stuff on other YouTube videos. But these two head bolts don't have the center punched in, and they're flat, and the outer four are painted red. I don't know if that came from Subaru like that. What I got here is I got some engine oil in a cup. I'm gonna dip the head so that gets coated. I'm gonna dip the threads. I mean, yeah. It's an outer. It's a center. Moving on, so I can keep going here. I've got the intake manifold. I've got to put the coil pack, the fuel rail, both fuel rails, the wire harness, and fuel lines. So we're going to start assembling that. Okay guys, I decided I am gonna throw some paint on this, and I've got, what I got for paint here, this is Duplicolor engine enamel, oh, what's the name of the color? Cast coat aluminum. Kind of supposed to be like the casting color. That stuff goes on good. I acid etched this crankcase. I got most of the, I cooked one of the heads here in a ultrasonic. I'm not so concerned about getting it perfect because, you know, all the plastic covers cover all this, and the intake covers most of it. And once it's buried in the back of the Volkswagen, you won't see it. I just want How does that look, guys? I think it looks pretty good. I mean, plastic's gonna cover the front.
Peel the paint off, peel the tape off. Okay, that's Reese, my shop dog. Okay, Reese. All right, so. It's still a little tacky here. It's probably best to pull the tape off when it's got a little bit of tack left to it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the tape doesn't hardly stick. It's fine, it's fine. Oh yeah, rebuilt sensor. Yeah, that one too. I covered the snout here, the crank pulley, and shot this area. Oh, it looks pretty good. She's ready for assembly, guys. Oh, there we go. A couple of hugga-duggas. That's plenty good. Got my O-rings installed into the block. Right. Okay. Okay. Snug them first. Get them snug first to get everything happy before we hammer them down. There we go. They're only M6s, so I'm not going to jam on them. All right, that's the water. That's going to end up going to the heater on the bus sooner or later. So I just want to lightly put a thin coat of RTV here, ultra black on here. It's a rubber seal, but if there's any imperfections or big scratches, this may not get in there. You got put grease on the inside of the seal for the cam. Okay. I got a socket here, 22 millimeter deep well that I can use. Now you don't want this any deeper than the surface of the flange here, so I'm just gonna tap that a little more. I can offset it here. I'm close, guys. All right, well, I guess I decided to show you guys how we do this. It says the spec is on the intake side is 0.2 millimeter, which is 8 thousandths. On the exhaust side, getting a little hotter and expanding, of course, a little bit bigger valve lash, 0.25 millimeter or 10 thou. And I started with number 1 cylinder, adjusted that with the arrow up, spun it. Let's see, it's at number 3. So that's 3, and we'll check 3. We got 8. The 8s and the 10s out, the rest I can put away. A little bit loose on that one. Just a little loose on both of these. I'm gonna crack these loose. I mean, it's just, if they're a little bit big, what's it gonna tick a little bit? You don't want them to ever go 0 lash because then the valves aren't shutting properly. So there's an 8 in there. It's got a little bit of movement. That feels pretty good right there. Just a little bit of tension, holding tension on it. Okay, close enough.
Well, we got the engine pretty much buttoned back together. New gaskets, seals, valve stem seals, head gaskets, all of the critical items on the Subaru engine. If you guys have stuck around and watched the full episode, I really appreciate it. Maybe hit the like or subscribe button and follow along for the full series. Thanks again. Hey YouTube watchers, if you like whiskey or know someone who does, check out this cool product. It's a little sideline business I have. It makes cool ice balls for drinking whiskey.